top of the league, Denis. How does it feel?
It's funny. It's one of those kind of strange things where we had a chat yesterday, lads, and the good thing about all the boys when they came in was the fact that they were really pleased with the performance. It was good to get moving and get some of the stuff we practiced down to the field. But we know there's lots of things that we need to get better at. We know that the competition's only going to get stiffer. We know that we were far from at our best as well. There was certain elements in the game, some of our passing, some of our a couple of tries. The lads were a bit filthy themselves, which was really pleasing when, not just after the game, but also in our review, that we know that there's so much more that we need to do. And I've been where London at the moment, and 2.5 years ago, it's a tough time when you pull a team together and you're trying to get some kind of flow within what you're trying to do. And it's pretty tough times, but we couldn't concern ourselves with that. We just had to look at our performance, and I thought we didn't have it easy with the fact that when you play a team like London or you played a team like us early in the competition when we first came in, there was a lot of enthusiasm and a lot of fearlessness in the way you went about, and that was, I thought we handled that well to score as many points as we did. It was a real testament to the way players carried the attitude into the game.
You've now got this long break before your next game. Wouldn't a tougher game have been more the order of the day for you rather than a game of that nature?
I think it's a rugby league game. It was tough. We've still got some sore bodies, and we still had to run into people, and we still had to make tough carries and big runs, and we still had to show some skill to score our tries. So no, it was the schedule is the schedule, and then I said after the game that I'd love to be playing this weekend. I would. I think to carry some momentum on a good field, good factor. We've come out of it pretty healthy, and considering it's our first game, so to be able to carry that into this week would have been ideal. But we support what we're trying to do as a game, and Wigan going over to Australia is important for the profile, not only in this country but in Australia. And if we can support them by not playing this weekend when we're supposed to, then that's what we'll do.
No sustained injuries over the weekend, guys?
No, we seem to have come through it all right. Like I say, still lads are a little bit sore. We're only 2 days post game, and it's a tough thing to pick up now. We've still got a couple of bumps and bruises. We'll know a little bit more after we've had a run today. We've got lads on their feet, but touch wood, everything seems to be pretty strong at the moment.
Was Patrick Arvan on your injury list at the weekend, Denis, or was he just not selected?
He was on the injury list. There's 3 or 4 of the lads that are just not right. Like I say, Pat's come back. He's had a couple of things this year through the pre-season where he's just not been able to get going. So we've got to get him fit and then see if he can actually push himself in this side, because at the moment both the wingers are pretty impressive on the weekend. I know. Paddy sat next to me. I thought he was outstanding on the weekend. I thought his pre-season work and how hard he's worked in pre-season came through in the performance that was really impressive on the weekend.
How did you feel about that, Paddy? Getting back in the team must be a big moment for you, that man.
Yeah, of course it is. Yeah. Last year I ended up getting unselected a few times, and I think you have to go through that to appreciate actually getting back in the team when it does happen. So I think only competition for places can do that, and in the end it does make the team better, so you can't argue that.
You fancy impressing the big man there, maybe for the trip, well, not a trip, the game against Huddersfield?
Of course, yeah. Hopefully I've done enough, and I'll continue to do so throughout the season.
Got to say, a lot of positives that actually came from the game on Sunday there. Was there anything in particular that shone out for you then, Denis?
I just think the scoreline and how clinical we were. I think it took us a little bit of a kick up the backside to get us going. But I think that was the fact of expectation, and we talked all week about not taking them lightly, and everybody through the press and everybody else were talking about them being relegation candidates and us being in that mix as well. And it's hard to try and guard the players against that complacency when it's all over. I know like the young men that are on social media is a massive part of what they do, and it's hard to understand, but it is. That's the way that the world works. So they know what's going on, what's being said, and they read papers and they go on the internet, so trying to guard them against that complacency was something that although they were saying it, was still in there.
Were you surprised by the scoreline, or do you think the lads are capable of doing that?
I was hoping for that kind of scoreline. I felt that we had that performance in us at home in our first game, just the way we've trained and the way we've gone about our pre-season. And I always think we can win. I watch them every single day, and I've got loads of confidence in every single member of the squad. I think that's part of my job, you know. And I am more optimistic than realistic at times. I do understand that, but I've watched them perform throughout the pre-season and seen them towards the end of last year. And I felt that if we could at home, we could get some flow to our game and a couple of players clicking into place, and you can see the form that's carried through. Then I was hopeful of. I was more hopeful of the fact that I could keep them under 2 tries, and I was also hopeful of the fact that we could score more than 40 points. So on both sides of it, I was really impressed with the way the team went about its business and was clinical. And some of the tries we scored were fantastic. And when you see the lads practice and you put practice in place, and then you see them score points from what they've done and how they've practiced, then that's really rewarding as a coaching staff. So they're the kind of things that we saw on the weekend.
I think Danny Tickle made a big difference, because obviously the goal rate was fantastic. Possibly could have made the difference last year in a lot of games there, couldn't it?
I think we know that Danny's here to kick goals. You know, he's a high percentage goal kicker, and we laugh and we joke and we wind him up, and the lads are on his back a bit like that. But yeah, he's here to turn 4 into 6. I think that's a personal thing for him as well. I think he loves that wherever it is on the field, that he takes his time, his concentration's high, and he wants to kick every single goal that he attempts. But what he gives to us in other areas as well, like you watch him throughout the game, I know that the lads appreciate that how hard he works and the contribution he makes to the team, not only in good ball, but when you see him behind the ball early for exit stuff and carries, he's a real inspiration to the team. And I think they're the kind of things that when you talk to Paddy and what drives him as well, like the things that when he sees other players doing it and then he does it and then he inspires other players as well. Like I said, some of the stuff that Paddy did on the weekend was pretty inspirational for the team, and they fed off his runs, and they fed off the way he carried the ball, and they fed off the way he worked behind the ball. And that's what we're after at the moment. We're after people inspiring each other to push each other harder.
Tony Ray said after the match, Denis, that he thought it might have been a close game if it wasn't for Kevin Brown. He might be exaggerating a little bit there, but Kevin said he's fitter than he's ever been. How key is he for you this year?
You look at every side looking for a halfback or looking for a leader on the field that can give them direction. But I pursued Kevin quite hard because I know that the qualities he has, not just as a player but as a human being, and how inspirational he can be around the place. And that's showing. And like I say, you talk to the players and you see him in the group. He's one of our leaders. He's pivotal to what we do. And to stay competitive, we need to keep a majority of our top 25 fit, so that we can create competition for places that drives each other on, and we can also feed off that enthusiasm and willingness to play. And I think Kev installs that. He knows he wants to play well because he wants to stay in the team because he's playing well, not just because he's got a number 6 shirt. And that's a great character trait that he's got. And I think, yeah, he was inspirational, but I think the team played pretty well all over as well. I think would St Helens have been 1-2 without Luke Walsh? Would Hull have won without Rankin in the end? Scoreline might be more if they hadn't have had a forward.
Sorry, competition for players, obviously, positions has been the big thing. That's obviously must have been a massive motivation for you, Paddy, because you've been really, I've spoken to you a few times, you've wanted to get in that team, so have you really had to redouble your efforts in order to make sure that you're in the selection run?
I don't think it's a matter of effort. I think it's a matter of concentration and focus, putting my energy into other parts of my game rather than going in the gym lifting big weights and thinking that that's enough. What you do on the field and the extras that you do and the people that you talk to, the players that you get tips off, that's irreplaceable. You can't do that just by talking to yourself. You need to go out there and speak to other lads, get experience off them. Brett Hodgson is a massive plus for the coaching staff. I've never met anyone that knows quite as much as he does about back specifics, and he's going to make a massive difference to the coaching staff and the team this season. So I think just the matter of focus and concentration has improved my game, and I think you just get that from talking to other players and doing your extras and working on what you need to work on with the lads.
Of course, you must be buzzing after the weekend, but this morning you go to your hairdressers, it's been broken into. Is that likely to affect your mindset going into the potential Huddersfield game?
No, getting my haircut isn't one of my priorities, but yeah, I've just got to concentrate.
Do you not do that yourself?
No. I got to pay someone to do this.
Jeez.
But yeah, I've just got to concentrate, and like I said before, competition for places helps you concentrate, it pushes you into a better player, and the players that we've got around the club now is outstanding. We've touched on Danny Tickle before. In my opinion, he's probably the best signing we've had since I've been at the club. He's that good of a signing. You could talk about Kev Brown and how influential he is, but I think Danny Tickle is a totally different type of player, and like Denis said, when he carries the ball, he puts 100% effort in, and when he kicks the ball over the sticks, he's 100% effort as well, and the lads can see that, they feed off it, and everyone gets on the back of it.
Is this the last year of your contract, Paddy? It's a big year for you, this, isn't it?
Yeah, this is that's not something that I've been thinking about. This is my 7th season in the first team at Widnes. My 8th season overall at the club, and like I said, it's not something that I've been thinking about, but I've just taken everything.
I'll tell you how many tries he scored and how many yards, but not thinking about it.
No, being out of contract next season or whatever, it's not something I've been thinking about much. It's taking every game as it comes, every tackle as it comes, every hit up as it comes, and hopefully that'll be good enough then in the long run to sort things like that out itself.
Denis mentioned about the competition for places in your position, Van, Owens, others decking you maybe, yeah, or whatever. Do you have that between you in training even? Is that a kind of competition that goes on in training?
Personally, between me, Pat and Jack, or whoever's there is no words exchange really. We're always just trying to help each other out. We now got dropped against Wigan, and we're going over to Jack, helping out if he made a mistake, tried letting him know what I'd do in that position, tell him to keep his head up, and etc. and that's what I have had people doing. When I've took their position in the past, I remember Dean Gaskell coming up to me every week in training, asking me or telling me what I can do to improve my game, and it's just constructive criticism, and I don't think anybody would be the player they are today if they didn't take criticism off somebody. And I'm just there to help out lads, even if they do take my position, because I want the team to succeed. And if that's Jack Owens or Pat or Van, then so be it.
Denis, just ask you about the game against Huddersfield, because obviously the result that they had against your former club looked pretty emphatic in that. Are we to read that Huddersfield are going to be a major force to be reckoned with this year, or could it be that Wigan perhaps maybe took their eye off the ball with a view to the club challenge coming up?
I think Huddersfield are going to be a major force. I think we can't ever write Wigan off, and think that just because they've got another game, I know that was a massive game. They were using it as a springboard for confidence going into the trip to Australia. And when you look at the recruitment that Huddersfield have done this year, and they've strengthened their team on the back of winning the League Leaders' Shield last year. So they've strengthened with the couple of players that they've brought in. The players that have played through the World Cup have got better. I think Danny Buss' confidence at the moment is sky high, and he's fulfilling all the potential that he's had throughout his career, and he's really one of the top players in the game at the moment. And across the board, their forwards are very big and dominant, and adding Bailey and Kafusi to that mix as well has really strengthened them. So I think that overall, yeah, they're looking to win something this year, and they put a marker down pretty early in a big game at the start of the season to let people know that.
A big crowd here, home advantage would definitely be something of a positive, wouldn't it?
Well, we would need our fans to get behind us. We need them to come and support us every single game, and we'll be going into this game on the back of plenty of training, pretty healthy squad, loads of confidence. Yeah, we know what the challenge is, and we want to put those sides out here on the select stadium and give them as good as we get, and that's always been the challenge, to be competitive. First off, as a team, to be competitive, and like I say, we're still only just over 2 years into this, and I think people can see now we've won 4 games on the trot in Super League. I know it's the best. Holding on to whatever we can.
What's your take on the? I mean, there's been much talk about Salford beating the team this year, you know, because of the signings and that. What would you take, or what could you tell us about that game over the weekend in terms of the closeness between them and Wakefield? Because
I think Wakefield are a very good, well-coached team. No matter what kind of differences they've had, you know that Richard's going to have done a good job leading into that game. And those first games are always tough for a side that's expected to win comfortably because they spent a load of money, and a side who's expected to get a flogging because they haven't. Things can turn pretty quick in this game, and I think Wakefield, I don't know, I've not watched the game, I know it was a close score, I don't know what the weather was like, I don't know what the situation was, I don't know how much control Salford had, how much I don't know enough to say why the scoreline was as close as it was, but you always know those first games, and I think you know that a side prepared by Richard Agar is going to be a well-prepared side, so just to think that Salford are going to give them a flogging just because they spent a lot of money is a little bit of an underestimation of the competition.
Can we talk about the World Club Challenge for a second, Denis?
Certainly can.
How big a challenge is on Wiggins' play this weekend?
Huge. I think everybody knows that as well. It was one of those kind of strange things that, and on reflection, looking back, being involved in the last team that played in that game and actually got a win in Brisbane in front of a massive crowd, and nobody gave us an opportunity, or nobody gave us a chance of winning that game, and to play in that game, to score the first try and to set it all off really and play really well. I can't remember that far back. But the competition's changed, and I know that Wigan are prepared very well for this. And we said we were going at the end of our season, they were starting theirs, so the build-ups were completely different. The whole philosophy and mindset behind the Challenge Cup the World Club Challenge changed and both leagues went in sync for summer rugby. So it's a different kind of game. I know the priority now is a little bit shifted back to in Australia to wanting to win it. The focus will be on them to win it. So it might have a different mindset shift in what's happening in Sydney with the Roosters at the moment as well. But the challenge is huge, but that's what you play the game for. You're not involved in one of the best club sides in the world. They've won our Challenge Cup, they've won the Super League, they've got a fantastic organisation. They're the challenges you want. I know Sean Wayne's relishing the fact that he's taken his players into that environment, that culture, and it can only bring the best out in that team. And I'll be riveting, sat down watching and rooting massively for Wigan to come back with the World Club Challenge, and then to go to Australia and make a big statement about the game in this country and now what it's doing.
Are you fancying the chances as well as wanting them to win? Are you fancying them to win?
You never can. You can never write Wigan off. I know people did last year when they lost a couple of players, when Finch left, when Hoffman left, when Luluai left. There wasn't a great raps given on bringing Blake Green in and Matty Smith, and you know that the organisation there just makes them accountable and makes them work hard. And they won both our major competitions last year. They lost a few games more than they wanted to, but they had the resilience and the tenacity to be able to stay in the fight and win the competition. I don't think you can ever. You think that just because it's in Australia and the Roosters have got some fantastic players, it's going to be a walkover. And I think you're underestimating the ability of the Wigan side. And I would never do that. And it's a strange competition, the World Club Challenge, when you look back and you see some tight games and then you see some blowout scores and against teams that you would never expect it to happen, both against Australia and against English sides. So it's a really tough one to call. It's a tough. We just hope that they've got it right. The mindset's good and they get a little bit of luck on their side and a rub of the green, and it's a good competition. first and foremost, I want it to be a great game. I think for the good of the game, or in general, but especially in this country.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, sorry, go on.
Sam Burgess has, we know what's happening with Sam Burgess, don't we? What's your take on that, Dennis? I mean, can rugby league, is it just a commercial thing? Can rugby league compete with rugby union?
No. If Sam can't stay in Australia, where the dollar's really strong and like he's a superstar in that competition, he's a superstar in rugby league, he's a great player, but I think we just got to realise now this is a professional sport. It's like, and rugby union, the international game in rugby union is the pinnacle of his profession, really, as a contact sport or a rugby player. The Rugby Union World Cup, and is massive. It's huge, and it's in this country. It's going to generate so much exposure for his ability and for his talent. That's the thing he's looking at. When he spoke to Jason Robinson and why he changed codes of what he did, and then when you speak to Andy Farrell and why he did it, and why it's not that they don't love the game or they're not rugby league people, or it's the fact that they work very hard and their talent needs to be rewarded at a stage, at a level that depicts their talent. And I think the Rugby Union World Cup is what Sam's looking at. And even the Six Nations and then the next Rugby Union World Cup and the Lions Tour, when you look what happened in the Lions Tour this time and the exposure it got and how big a thing for your career being involved in the Lions Tour is, it's huge. And you can't, like I said, our game's just got to move on and keep generating more Sams. Look at your brothers, look at internally at our own game and know that we have got the ability to generate and produce talent. But that talent then is going to go to what it feels it can be at its best stage. Whether it can really transfer his talents, only time will tell. The games are completely different and at the highest level. But his skill set is such, and his determination, his energy. You just know that people like Sam Burgess, Sam Tompkins are talented, massively driven individuals, and I think they'll succeed in whatever they try to do, especially in sport. It's not. It gives us something to talk about, doesn't it? We get column inches in about rugby league and the talent that rugby league players have got that they want them. Well, it's going to be a tough ask. It's a pretty talented group of players they've got now in that rugby union team, England team at the moment. And I'm just looking forward to watching Sam play for the Rabbitohs this year as well.
There's talk of the marquee exemption on salaries. Marwan Kukash says he'd have paid Sam whatever it is, but after paying him.
And it's not about money. It's not about money. I don't think it is. I mean, you can always take back. Yeah, he'll get paid well wherever he plays in the world. Sam. I don't think you can't put it down to money. Like, he'll get what he's worth, and he can earn a lot of money. I'm sure he can earn a lot of money. He'll be very well paid in the NRL. I mean, you look at some of the salaries and what their competition compared to ours over at the moment is because of the strength of the dollar and the TV deal that they've just signed, and the game's really, really strong in Australia. The top 5-10% of each squad is very highly paid individuals. Probably they've never been paid ever in the world in the history of the game. So I don't think money and exposure to that kind of thing in Australia is. You know, Sammy, he's very patriotic. He loves his country. He wants to come back, and it's not like he wants to play for Australia or wants to change allegiances to get more profile at the international stage. He knows that if he plays rugby union at the international stage and the people that watch it and the profile that it'll generate for his ability will push things forward. And now. You can throw money at a lot of people. I don't think you can throw money at people of that ilk because there's plenty of people throwing money at them.
Let's put it to the test. Paddy, someone came along from rugby union and said, "Hey, Paddy, here's an absolute shed load of money, 10 times what you're getting paid at Widnes. What are you going to do?"
Paddy's going to go, I'm going to sell him. In fact, I'm going to become Paddy's agent and I'm going to take 5% if that happens.
Well,
But you see, but you've not put it to the test there, have you? You've offered him 10 times more. How do you know that Tom Burgess has been offered 10 times more? He hasn't been offered 10 times more to go and play rugby union.
Right. A lot more.
How do you know it's a lot more?
I don't. I'm offering Paddy
How
a
do you
lot
know
more
it's
in my hypothetical situation.
Yeah, but the hypothetical situation is not related to the question you asked. Because you asked, is it about money?
It's a new question.
No, it wasn't. That's what you put into the test.
I'm getting the impression you don't want him to answer.
What are you putting to the test then? You said you put it to the test.
You said it's not a lot of money. I'm finding out if it is.
Well, it is for Paddy because he's on nothing.
Oh, right.
So now you're agent sport. What's your thoughts, man?
I don't think I could go to the game because I don't have a clue how to play it, to be honest. But,
you do all right this one,
at the moment, I'm enjoying my time playing rugby league, and I've got bigger things to think about and keeping my place in this team. Never mind thinking about anything else. You know, going playing a different sport. So I'm just concentrating on that.
Training because Pat Evans over there training.
Exactly.
Cheers, Dennis.
Cheers, mate.
Thanks for that.